Hi, everybody. This is Jim Cornette. We're here at LexCon, but you're listening to the Week in Wrestling podcast, and you made the right choice. And by the way, thank you, fuck you, bye.
Oh, wrestling fans! Don't you dare be sour! Clap for your Week in Wrestling podcast and feel the power! It's a new day, yes it is!
Hello and welcome to another Week in Wrestling. I'm Luke Janesco.
Keith Church.
And Week in Wrestling's resident angry black man, Dynamite Dee Harris.
He's got that copyrighted, by the way.
Let's do it, yeah.
Get those t-shirts printed.
All right, before we kick it off, Casey wants to do a little rapid fire.
Rapid fire, real quick. Just getting it out there because we haven't done this in a while. Need to catch up a little bit. So real quick. TJP is a stupid fucking name. The Welcoming Committee is a stupid fucking name. Great Balls of Fire is a stupid fucking name. Also, subpoint, what the hell were the Usos talking about on Tuesday night? That was the weirdest promo I think I have ever seen.
That was. I remember you texting both of us and saying, what was with that promo? And I wasn't really paying attention.
No, it was like legitimately because right now with the situation that I'm in, I'm only able to watch. I got set up with a cord cutting TV service.
Yeah.
So I was able to watch SmackDown, and because I usually have WWE on as background noise a lot of the time, I didn't have my phone with me because I was using it to watch SmackDown. So I was kind of mesmerized by what the Usos were doing. That was like the weirdest promo.
That's not the first time they did that, Casey.
Oh my! It still doesn't make any sense. But
it was done better before. Let's just put it that way.
Okay. 12 days! 12 days! Anyway.
Fans were into it, though.
Why is Breezango the face in this feud anyway? It makes little to no sense.
I will say they gave them new legs, but go ahead, Casey.
Let's get back to Great Balls of Fire, because I saw you just immediately collapse in on yourself when I mentioned that.
Oh my gosh! What the fuck?
If there is ever any proof that Vince McMahon is so damn out of touch with reality, this is it.
That's one of my favorite pay-per-view names.
Wasn't this supposed to be Bad Blood? I mean, what was wrong with that?
That was a too generic name. They had to go Great Balls of Fire.
And also, let's add in the fact that this is going to be Brock Lesnar's first title defense as Universal Champion. Because fuck that whole 30-day rule. I mean, fuck that. This is Brock Lesnar. He's getting paid either way. Oh my god.
30-day rule doesn't exist unless they want it to. So they have to get rid of a champion. That's when they have to put it into effect.
Prime examples, Naomi was missing for 20 days and they took the title off.
They're like, she could be back in 10, but we're just going to take the belt off her right now.
Yeah. Oh my god. It makes zero damn sense.
Why
just
is that called Great? Oh my god. I can't even.
Hashtag Great Balls of Fire. That's going to be trending on Twitter in a couple months. Think about that.
Can we just get past this pay-per-view? Like, we don't even need a pay-per-view right now. Can we? It's like a relationship. Can we get over the last one before we move on to the next one? I mean,
Great Balls of Fire is until July, so you at least have that.
Can we get past Backlash first?
Okay, still,
we're just getting over WrestleMania.
Ugh. All right, yeah, let's that was it. That was the only thing that I wanted to
I'm
talk
so
about.
with you. Why? We could have brought back Fully Loaded.
There are a plethora of good pay-per-view names that they don't use.
You could have brought back the Bash. It's in July, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Great American Bash.
Yeah, Great American Bash. WCW rights are still there. Bash at the Beach. Why not?
Might as well. Anything's better than Great Balls of Fire.
WWE is so bad at pay-per-view names anymore. I mean, remember, they had a pay-per-view called Fatal 4-Way, for fuck's sake.
And like you said, when they own WCW properties, you already have like 14 other pay-per-views you can throw in there.
Right.
Names.
Sold Out. Slamboree.
Just go back to In Your House if we're gonna
Super Brawl.
Oh my God. Bring back Starrcade for the love of God. You can treat it as, kind of like a WWE Network, exclusive Big Four kind of thing. You know what I mean?
A second glitch diode blowing dim-wittery.
Oh my God. The only thing, WWE got good for a while there with the pay-per-view names, but then they kind of fell off the wagon with Over the Limit, which sounded a little too much like Over the Edge. And it didn't help that the first Over the Limit was on the anniversary of Owen Hart's death.
Don't worry, they just named it Fastlane.
Yeah. WWE ruins everything, so...
All right, we'll get into the format if Casey's done ranting right now at this moment.
Oh, I'm sure something will happen.
I guarantee something's going to happen.
Great balls of fucking fire.
We'll kick it off with Monday Night Raw. Of course, Raw was in London this week. With Raw GM Kurt Angle not making the trip, he appointed Dean Ambrose GM for the night, but Commissioner Stephanie McMahon gave the job to The Miz, further adding to their feud. Was this a good idea, rehashing a SmackDown feud on Raw?
They rehashed this feud as soon as they got there.
Yeah, I think it's like I said when the Superstars shakeup happened. I think moving both of them to Raw was a smart move in the long term, but I don't think there was anything for them to do right away. So why not have a solid feud that they have chemistry with to kick off on Raw? I don't expect it to move past the next pay-per-view or the next match they have for the title. If it does, it'll just be a short-term thing, but I'm not expecting anything to go long-term. I'm not expecting this feud to go all the way to SummerSlam, if anything. So given everything that's going on Raw right now, I think it's just a case of you're in a better place right now, but you need to stick to the old formula just to start things off and then go from there. So kind of a negative because we've seen this song and dance. It's just a different coat of paint, but at the end of the day, it's probably going to be beneficial in the long term. So I don't see a problem with it, but I do understand why other people might.
I'm going to say this. Okay, I like some of the moves that happened during the shakeup, but now I'm thinking about certain things. I'm confused, just for the simple fact that we had a good feud with Baron Corbin and Dean Ambrose on SmackDown.
Yeah. They
should have stuck with that, because now it's like, now what?
Yeah, that should have gone on until Backlash. They should have kept them together.
Immediately, even now a little bit, Baron Corbin feels a little directionless without a real feud. He's just kind of thrown in there a little bit with AJ and Kevin Owens' feud, which is fine. But guys like Ambrose, I think he should have stayed on SmackDown, later on turned heel, especially if AJ's a face now. Bray Wyatt should have never been moved to Raw at all. And I'm all for giving Jinder a chance, but why you wouldn't never been in this situation in the first place had you kept the belt on Bray Wyatt in the first place, or at least in a title feud with Orton. So this whole superstar shakeup has kind of thrown a wrench in certain things, and it's more so with Wyatt and Miz and who's the other guy? Oh, Dean Ambrose, yeah. So it's mainly with those guys, and that's why we're seeing this. Okay, we don't know what to do with these two new guys we just brought over. Let's just put them right back in the feud they were in before they left SmackDown.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely like the writers do have tunnel vision.
Yeah.
They have a general idea of what they want to do, but once they get to that point, it's like, now the fuck what? They brought Ambrose and Miz to Raw. On paper, great idea. There wasn't a whole lot else for them to do on SmackDown. Why not? It gives them a whole plethora to do it. Move them to Raw. Now what? We didn't think of this way through. We didn't think. It's the old adage. A telemarketer calls someone up and says, "Yeah, I am interested in that. Tell me more." And the telemarketer's like, "Oh God, I didn't think I'd ever get this far." You know what I mean?
I don't know what to do next.
So it's definitely a case of that, and I'm in total agreement with you with Bray Wyatt. I mean, Wyatt should have never moved SmackDown. They never should have took the belt off him at WrestleMania to begin with. That match, A, should have been a little bit longer, and B, why not put Wyatt over? Instead, we get this, House of Fun, whatever the fuck it was, at Payback, and was that shit supposed to make any goddamn sense? Or had the writers just been playing a lot of Resident Evil 7 and just thought, we can recreate that, sure.
I'm gonna cut you off a little bit because we are gonna go back to Bray Wyatt in a little while.
Yep.
And I don't want to completely wear that topic out, but for me, I wanted Dean Ambrose on Raw. I agree that I feel like Baron Corbin had the rug swept out from under him almost. I feel like there should have been a period on that feud. I think Baron Corbin should have walked out with the Intercontinental Championship, and then Dean Ambrose should have made the move to Raw.
Not to cut you off, Luke. My thing is, if you were going to bring Ambrose to Raw, if he's already feuding with Corbin, leave Miz on SmackDown.
That's what I think. Miz
and bring
should
Corbin
have stayed.
over.
Yep. I feel like Miz should have stayed on SmackDown. I think he can kind of be that competent upper main event heel without ever actually being he could be that gatekeeper of hitting the main event for baby faces. For me, like Dean Ambrose, since he's on Raw with the Intercontinental Championship, it kind of baffled me that they're rehashing this whole Miz feud. I really think I want to see a heel Dean Ambrose versus Finn Balor. I think for Intercontinental Championship, I think since Lesnar's not going to be defending regularly, and you kind of need that main guy on Raw, I think Finn Balor as Intercontinental Champion could kind of bring up that feel like main event feel where we could have an eventual Balor versus Lesnar. Obviously, I think they're going to go Reigns-Lesnar, but I would love to... In a perfect world, we'd have Intercontinental Champion Finn Balor versus Universal Champion Brock Lesnar, title versus title, where Finn Balor finally wins. I would like to see that, but I don't think that'll ever happen, but I think Balor should be the guy on Raw, and right now the Intercontinental Championship is the kind of championship that's going to be defended regularly, so I think he should be the one holding it.
Yeah, and that's the problem Raw's going to have, because not only are they an overbooked, underprepared show that's way too damn long every Monday night, they also don't have a fucking championship. I mean, Brock Lesnar is not going to, no matter how much you pay him, he's not going to change his schedule just because you put the belt on him, And this is the problem that I had with, the booking of WrestleMania as a whole. Great match at WrestleMania. Hit all the high points. It was adrenaline rush from beginning to end. 4 minutes for a title match, sure. Big problem. But at the end of the day, it worked out for what you needed to do. You still had a part-timer who's only going to show up 5 pay-per-views a year. One of them being called Great Balls of Fire. And this is the guy who's supposed to... bring prestige to a fairly new championship that isn't even a year old. And so far, that championship has been forfeited due to an injury. Defended by essentially a coward, which I thought worked well for Kevin Owens, but that was it. Defended by a grandpa, and defended by a guy who can't be bothered. Is there a point to even have this championship, or can we go back to the original brand split idea where, the WWE champion was a property of both shows?
That would be ideal, but I think they're set on having 2 separate champions. We'll move on to Braun Strowman destroys Kalisto as Roman Reigns returns getting revenge on Strowman with a steel chair. Strowman will be off TV for a while dealing with an elbow injury. Will the big man be able to get his traction back when he returns from the injury?
I have my doubts. I honestly have my doubts. I mean, this was probably... Braun Strowman came in as a member of the Wyatt family just to be the big guy there. I mean, he was essentially the Ryback of the Wyatt family, pun not intended. But he was just there to essentially, destroy people. And then when they split the Wyatt family up again... he was kind of on his own, and they tried to make this big push out of him. They tried to, make it seem like he was, tougher than tough, had the ring collapse underneath him, you could practically, bury him alive, and he'd still find a way to kick out. They've done a whole lot, but I think it was just a case of, out of sight, out of mind at this point. I mean, I don't know how long he's going to be out for.
Couple weeks.
Yeah, a couple weeks. If it's any long period of time, like if we're talking 8 to 10 weeks, people are going to forget that he's supposed to be there.
I don't think WWE is going to let that happen. They do have a tendency to show video packages to keep people fresh in the mind, or have him do some kind of crazy freaking promo, like on one of those quote unquote via satellites.
Yeah.
When they're actually really just backstage, because WWE's not going to pay that much money for a via satellite for somebody that works for them. But
I don't know the specifics on this injury. I don't know if he needs surgery or not, or it's just kind of.
no, I don't think it needs. I don't even think it needs surgery. It didn't say that, but.
Yeah, I think that it's kind of interesting dynamic with him, because Strowman's supposed to be this unstoppable monster,
Yeah.
and then you see him come out on Monday with a sling on his arm.
Yeah, exactly. And he's leaving the O2 arena, gripping his shoulder and elbow, clearly writhing in pain, and not just selling either. I mean, you can tell that was hurting him at the time. So, Grant was never off his feet. I think he was down at one knee a couple times, but he was never off his feet. So they're definitely still trying to keep him as this, unstoppable force meeting the immovable object. It's just a case of, are they going to care when he comes back? And I'm not talking about the fans. I'm talking about the writers. Yeah. Are they going to be able to, stay focused on Braun Strowman long term? Or are they going to find the next big thing that will make them money and sell T-shirts, or make Roman look strong, whatever, and move on to there and leave Strowman, on the mid card and just waiting for his release papers? And that's what I don't want to happen.
While we're on the subject of making Roman look strong, going back to the pay-per-view, what the hell pay-per-view did we just see? Payback, okay. They had Roman Reigns completely destroyed by Braun Strowman, right?
Yep.
Yeah, that should have been it. It's the same thing with the freaking ambulance. Then we have, what is it? Was it the exclusive they had on Raw Talk or whatever? Because they had to have Raw Talk talking smack. SmackDown can't have anything good without Raw trying to copy it. Luckily, they only do this after pay-per-views. Anyway. They had that backstage segment when Roman Reigns is about to get assaulted again by Braun Strowman. He's like, I'm not finished with you. And here he comes running across, and he knocks off the ambulance door and falls into he fell into a pile of boxes. And then Roman Reigns kept hitting him with the door of the ambulance or whatever, just so Roman Reigns could look tough. They already had him not get on a stretcher and all that stuff. But you had to let Roman Reigns get some type of retribution for him to still look strong. Then come Monday, we let this guy come out and beat up Braun Strowman. Leave it. Just leave it alone.
It's like you can't build sympathy for a character that is always getting the upper hand.
Right, yeah.
It annoys everyone, which we're seeing with Roman Reigns. That's why.
See, I wonder why he gets booed so often. Can we please just turn this guy heel already? Can we please just give him some
They're trying to
Samoa Joe-esque music?
This is the thing. They're trying to make him more the John Cena mold when he's more of a Batista mold.
Yeah.
I don't even think that. I don't think Roman can
He
pull
doesn't have
off.
He doesn't have that super likable personality. What they do with Batista when he started getting booed, they turned him heel.
Right.
And he
wanted to be heel in the first place.
And he went straight to the moon. That's the main reason. He has never come back after, plus his movie career is on fire. I don't blame him at this point. He doesn't need WWE. But that's the main reason he was very unhappy in the first place. Batista's like, why are you making me a babyface? I did my best work as a heel before I left.
Give me my spotlight.
Yeah. And I think Roman Reigns could do the same thing if they made him a bad guy. But at the same time, the guy's not going to complain. Like, what, you're paying me this much? You pushing me to the moon? I'm not going to tell you don't do it. I mean, you're paying me all this money. I mean, go ahead. I mean, he's doing what he's told. It's his job. So I can't really get mad at him like the performer, but it's the booking of this guy. I think they've ruined him, beating Undertaker at WrestleMania without turning heel.
It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, he's damaged goods at this point.
He's never gonna get back afloat.
Yeah,
there.
You can make him the most powerful heel in the company for years on end, the most despicable kind of person. I'm talking Triple H Evolution style of most hated heel, the kind that still gets their car keyed at the end of the night. Legitimate hate, and people still won't buy it at the end of the day. It's a mess, and it's almost you do feel bad for Roman at this point because he is just doing what he's told. He is just reading off of the script. He is just doing what Vince McMahon asked of him.
Vince
But at the end
McMahon
of the day,
is so
Vince
out
McMahon
of
is
touch.
an idiot.
He's so out of touch. Speaking of being an idiot, did you hear about the fucking script of his life
No.
for the movie?
Oh my god.
Okay, I know you saw it or heard about it at least.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Luckily, I hope that never sees the light of day. According to Linda McMahon, she said it'll probably never see the light of day. But that just shows how out of touch she is.
Vince will make it if he has to put his own money down. He'll air it on the WWE Network on a 24-hour loop.
Don't give these idiots ideas. Come on. If they do that, I probably won't watch WWE again. No, please no.
There's always hope for the XFL too, so.
All right, we'll move on to Sheamus and Cesaro run a gauntlet, defeating all the Raw tag teams to become number one contenders for the Raw tag titles. Has this new heel turn breathed new life into Sheamus and Cesaro?
First of all, can we stop with the fucking tag team turmoil matches? It's starting to get on my nerves at this point. We've had, 3, 4 in the last 6 weeks?
3.
Oh my god. It was a fun novelty the first time you saw it. Now it's just something that you can expect every few weeks.
Let's get all the tag teams on TV.
Yeah, we actually have a tag team division. Can you believe it? Let's show it to you. Make it stop, please. These matches aren't even that fun to watch. It's actually surprising because you always felt that this was a temporary tag team. And that Sheamus was clearly the heel. Cesaro was clearly, if not a tweener, then definitely more of a face. And it did work out, kind of the odd couple scenario. I wasn't expecting them to stay as a tag team beyond WrestleMania. And the fact that Cesaro has gone full-blown heel and Sheamus is even acting a lot more of a heel than he was previously, I think it's actually a great thing. Still a little weird. I still don't think it's a long-term tag team. I think by SummerSlam at the latest, they'll probably go their separate ways and back to a singles career. But at the end of the day, I'm actually looking forward to a potential feud with Sheamus and Cesaro and the Hardys because that would actually be shut up and take my money kind of match because their styles are so vastly different but yet so compatible that you're going to get a decent match out of the two teams.
Will be wonderful.
Oh my god.
I'm looking forward to this feud. I mean, they had a really good match at Payback, minus Jeff losing his tooth.
Yeah.
I saw it as soon as it happened. I said, "Holy shit! Did he kick his tooth out of his mouth?" I was like, "No, maybe that was just something in the ring." And they said, "No, Jeff lost a tooth." They put on a replay and
That
everything.
was Sheamus, right? Kicked him?
Yeah, he kicked him.
Sheamus is so stiff, it's insane. That's why Tensai and him had some very brutal matches when Tensai was a thing a few years ago.
Really?
Yes. They had welts on their chests. It was insane. I loved watching them wrestle because they were just so stiff with each other.
Tensai was a thing?
He was. Believe it or not.
I bought his entrance theme off of iTunes. I needed it for my video game at the time. I needed it for WWE 12. Terrible as that game was.
Yeah, with these two, I really felt like their course was ending a few weeks ago. But I think with the revival and their injuries, they pulled an audible and decided to keep these two together and throw a heel turn into them.
Yeah, I think Wilder's going to be out for another 2 to 3 weeks with that jaw injury.
And I think this is one of those things where you have the Hardys that are such a big name, you don't really have a lot of tag teams to kind of go up to make it feel like an even feud, where you have Sheamus and Cesaro, who, I mean, Sheamus was a world champion already. They already are two separate big names, and you put them together, it kind of seems like an even matchup between the Hardys and Sheamus and Cesaro. So I think this is the most viable option in the tag division right now, because no one really has that element of they could potentially beat the Hardys. So I'm kind of glad they kept these two. I'm really glad they kept these two together and turned him heel, because I think face Sheamus and Cesaro just wasn't really there. It wasn't clicking, and people were getting tired of it. And then finally, when they turned heel, I think people are really getting behind him.
The only thing that I wish would happen is just have a singular theme song.
Yeah,
having the James Bond Cesaro thing, and then go into Sheamus's little intro and doing the whole thing. It's kind of getting old. They need their own theme. Just don't Breezango it, please.
Yeah, I'm getting tired of the theme mashups. It's never really been a fan of mine.
Yeah.
No.
Thanks, Rated RKO. That's your lasting impact.
That was the only thing that came out of mashups that was good. It was the Rated RKO theme.
And are they still wearing kilts?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that's a little much for me. They don't seem like the type that need all that kind of stuff. I think they kind of just wear their own shirts. And whatever.
Also, Irish, Scottish, isn't there an issue there?
We're not going to talk about that.
Oh
It's
my
not a history
God.
lesson, Casey. We'll move on to Bray Wyatt defeats Dean
Oh,
Ambrose.
he's Swiss. Cesaro Swiss.
Wait, what did Casey say?
He said Scottish.
Yeah, because
Oh.
of the kilts. That's a Scottish thing.
Oh.
And,
Yeah, 'cause
and the Irish and the Scottish apparently don't get along.
Oh, okay. I'm thinking you thought Cesaro was.
No.
Okay.
All right, we'll move on to Bray Wyatt defeats Dean Ambrose, as Wyatt was The Miz's handpicked opponent. As Wyatt went from champion and main event heel and now just a pawn in a feud, is Wyatt in danger of being lost in the shuffle on Raw?
Yes! Which is why he never should have moved in the first place. Look. Bray Wyatt has gotten the short end of the stick so many times in his career, and his career has only been about, 4 or 5 years? He's gotten the short end of the stick so many times since he's been on the main roster. Every time it looks like he's getting a good push and people are getting behind him, they just sweep the rug from under him. He could be the top guy on SmackDown right now. He was the top guy on SmackDown. He was the guy who's probably going to be the flag bearer for the blue brand. That wasn't AJ Styles if AJ was going to be a face. He should still be WWE champion, and now he's just thrown into Monday Night Raw, which is, again, an overblown, overbooked, underprepared show. And, again, this was a case of tunnel vision. Yeah, he'll have something to do on Monday Night Raw. You move him to Raw. What the fuck is there for him to do? It just makes no sense. And I hope that
And
he actually gets wins. Please, this helps. He did technically get a win, but it was helped by the Miz. It was
from
just
the Eater of Worlds to the Eater of Pins.
oh my God, it's just so pathetic because Bray Wyatt couldn't buy a win for a while. He couldn't buy a win, and then when he finally wins the championship, we thought it was a weight has been lifted off of the world. Finally things are going to be done right, and he'll have at least a decent length
how
as a
excited
champion.
and happy about that I was, because I knew that he would be ruined if he didn't win the championship.
Yeah, exactly. He won the championship. It lasted about 5 weeks before WrestleMania, before they took it off him again, in an overbooked, underprepared match.
And with him being on Raw right now, and they're going to this feud with Finn Balor, and this really pissed me off last Monday, because this hurt Finn Balor. If he wasn't going to win an Intercontinental title match, he should have, not title, but it was the number one contender. Rollins should have been the one that was pinned.
Yeah.
Because that really hurt, to me, that really hurt Finn Balor.
Yeah.
He hasn't been back on television for about 3 weeks?
Yeah.
And he gets pinned by the fucking Miz of all people, regardless if he had Wyatt's help. That made Balor look bad. And so, if we were going to do this feud with Wyatt, we could have done something completely different in this match. Yeah, we could have even threw Wyatt in this match.
That's what I thought.
It had to be a fatal 4-way number one contendership, and then have Samoa Joe interfere, drop Rollins, and we'll move on with that, and we'll worry about the stuff with Finn Balor later.
Yeah.
Because they really didn't have a legit reason to be feuding with each other. Putting Wyatt in that match too would have gave them a legit reason. Right there.
And initially,
Why aren't you booking WWE again? How are three schmucks who just talk about wrestling in their free time writing better shows than the quote-unquote creative geniuses in Stamford, Connecticut?
Just Vince McMahon's out of touch.
And initially, when we saw Bray Wyatt show up at the end of Raw, like when it's his first appearance when he got moved over, I thought we were going to see an Intercontinental Championship feud just to kind of capitalize on his run on SmackDown. Since Lesnar's not going to be around, I thought we were going to kind of get a guy that just held the major championship on SmackDown, get the Intercontinental Championship on Raw to kind of make it have that big feel to it, capitalizing on that momentum. But obviously we didn't see that because I honestly thought we would have seen Intercontinental Champion Bray Wyatt versus Finn Balor eventually. I thought that's where they were going to go with, but obviously that's not the case at the moment, and it baffles me that we're just throwing Bray Wyatt in random matches right now.
And by the way, WWE, I'm all for the Intercontinental Championship, but you just can't ignore a championship's importance for I don't know how long. The United States Championship, okay, that's fine. They've done well with that, but you can't ignore a championship's importance for so long and then just all of a sudden decide that you're going to make it the most important championship on the show just because you don't have your main champion there.
Yep, it doesn't work like that. You have to preserve the prestige of championships instead of just saying, oh, it's going to be the flavor of the month. Let's focus on this. Let's focus on the tag division. Let's do this. It just doesn't work like that.
Yeah, is there any point to watch Raw? I mean, honestly, is there any point to watch Monday Night Raw anymore based on the fact that we don't have a major championship?
I've started missing the first hour of this show on purpose.
Yeah,
you don't miss a damn thing.
It's so interesting that they have so much SmackDown talent when like a few weeks ago before the Superstar shakeup when SmackDown was doing so well and they had these meaningful feuds. They've taken the same superstars, but it's the same Raw.
It's the same old shit, different week. It's the same writers writing themselves in the corner every week, and as soon as they find a way out, they realize it's another corner.
Yep.
They're in that intangible box that they can't find their way out of. And SmackDown, with the writers they have for SmackDown, they're doing fine. And honestly, and I hate to bring this up because it's a point that's been beaten to the ground so hard that it's not even twitching anymore, Raw needs to be 2 hours. Yeah. Why is Raw still 3 hours? It was a fine experiment, a fine way to cap off, 1,000 episodes of Monday Night Raw. Here's an extra hour of Raw for a while. I'm surprised that they're still doing it. I mean, didn't Eric Bischoff say that making Nitro 3 hours was the biggest mistake he made as producer of Nitro?
It's like, can't they just make Raw 2 hours and then put 205 Live on at 8? And just treat it as a separate show?
I've been saying that since we started doing this again.
All right, we'll move on to SmackDown. Natalya defeats Becky Lynch as a 6-woman tag is set for Backlash. With a female faction already formed, is there potential for Charlotte to join the self-proclaimed welcoming committee to form the 4 Horsewomen on SmackDown?
The welcoming committee is a stupid fucking name. Okay. I'll give it credit where it's due. It's making the women's division important, which is something that since the quote-unquote Divas Revolution, they have been trying their damnedest to do, and it's finally working. It's obviously working on SmackDown more than it is on Raw, but it's working. It's making you interested. The problem is they have this, it's essentially Divas Revolution 2. The only difference is there's one less team to worry about.
Yeah.
Because you have, 3 catty bitches over here, 3 not so catty bitches, but still catty bitches over here. Let's throw them together and see what happens. And at the end of the day, you're not expecting, a Charlotte face turn out of this. If you are, you're insane.
Yeah.
I don't see anyone, maybe Carmella, maybe turning face, but I don't see anyone on the welcoming committee side changing alliances anytime soon. Obviously, Becky Lynch and Naomi are going to stay exactly where they are, even though there was a hint of a Becky Lynch turn for a while there.
I was so hoping they would go there with that. I was like, yes, because Becky needs something fresh. She really does. And then it's like, oh, she's going to side with Charlotte and Naomi. Okay.
and Mickey James is doing who knows what right now. So at the end of the day,
she's on Raw.
Oh yeah, that's right. She did get traded to Raw. Anyway, at the end of the day, you know, I'm interested in the storyline, but again, same flavor, different dish. You know what I mean? It's the exact same thing that we saw, you know, 2-3 years ago with the whole Divas Revolution thing. The only difference is it's 2 teams instead of 3, and at the end of the day, once this feud's over, are we really going to get anything out of it? Like, who's going to come out as the number 1 contender to Naomi's championship? Why isn't the championship even a factor in this whole thing? So that's probably my biggest concern about the whole thing. It's like, Naomi's the champion. I didn't once hear anything about the championship during that match, other than the fact that Naomi was women's champion. Give me a reason to care. I'm interested in the story you're setting up. Just give me a reason to care about it.
They're not gonna give you a good reason to care about it. Trust me.
More than likely not. But
I think it's really just trying to give something for Natalya to do. What I'm hoping is that I'm really freaking hoping that it seems like Charlotte's gonna be a face eventually. I mean, right now she's in that in between spot, and she's siding with 2 other faces. But I'm hoping somewhere down the line, I think they'll probably do another Naomi Charlotte match for the title. Naomi probably actually get past her. Maybe one with Natalya. She'll get past her. I could see that happen on an episode of SmackDown. But I'm hoping this eventually leads to a feud between Becky and Naomi for the championship, with Becky being the heel. Because Becky Lynch really needs this right now. Since losing the championship to Alexa and then not being able to bounce back and get the championship again, she hasn't really done much.
Yeah.
Did she have a match at WrestleMania?
Yeah, she was in the the 5-way.
Okay.
She was dressed up as the video game character.
Yeah, but other than that, she hasn't really done anything.
No.
Like, since WrestleMania, what has Becky really done?
Yeah. For me, I would love to see. I think Charlotte's one of those people that can kind of go through her whole career being heel, just because I don't feel like it would feel genuine as a face. It would almost be like Ric Flair as a face. But I could see that the Backlash match turning into a 4-on-2 with Charlotte just turning. Because if she aligns herself with the group, with the exception of Carmella, you have a Hart and a Snuka, all second generation. You have a lineage there.
Mm-hmm.
So I could see them aligning together. And I'm a fan of, since Naomi's a face, really stacking the card against her so she has a bunch of opponents to get through. And then maybe having Becky as that, support system to get through all this, then an eventual heel turn where she does lose it to Becky Lynch, heel Becky Lynch. Just because you need that strong opponent, the strong opponents, in order to have a strong champion. So I'm a fan of really stacking it so it's uneven. Of Naomi's almost the only babyface on that show to try and get through all these heels, because you kind of need that big line of people to go through. So I'm hoping that we're gonna see Charlotte go heel and not a babyface. I really don't want to see that. I don't think there's really anything there traction wise. I think everyone just wants to see Charlotte as a heel. So I could see her turning on Becky Lynch and Naomi at Backlash.
Yeah, I'm just hoping, we need a fallback from Charlotte right now. She was a big main focal point and mainstay champion on Raw, and I got kind of sick of her, and I don't want to see that a lot of her from her on SmackDown.
Yeah, like
at least not
reign.
yet.
Yeah,
we don't need that. So I would like to see like other women feud. That's why I would really like to see. Okay, if she does feud with Naomi has to get past her, because she did. I didn't like how, and I'm so glad we're doing a show now, because a couple weeks ago, before this whole welcoming committee thing actually took off, they had that match where Charlotte defeated and just flat out pinned Naomi.
That was insane.
On SmackDown. And Naomi got very little offense, and she's the champion.
I was so mad about that because we had talked about it.
It made her look so fucking weak, and that bothered the shit out of me. And then in the following week, they had a competitive match on SmackDown. I'm like, oh shit, here we go. Charlotte's getting title matches right away. And they didn't even let Naomi, not just didn't let her get her win back and have a successful title defense. They ended the match in a freaking DQ, and now we're moving on to something else.
Yeah.
So if we come back to it, I'm hoping like Naomi has to beat her.
Yeah.
She has to be seen as a credible champion. They really made her look very weak in that match.
Yeah.
She had very little offense.
Yeah, if we do see the Charlotte heel turn, she aligns herself with the welcome committee. I could see them almost doing, Charlotte's gonna be last in line. Naomi's getting through everyone to kind of soften Naomi up, and then Charlotte's gonna try to come in and pick the bones. Where I would really hope that Naomi defeats Charlotte, or else she would look super weak, just always losing to Charlotte, especially for the championship. But yeah, like we need to see fresh feuds before Charlotte does get her shot, because that was all.
It's gonna be more of the same shit.
Yep. All right, we'll move on to Eric Rowan defeats Luke Harper, both being former members of the Wyatt family, and with Bray now on Raw, will we see both of these guys directionless without Wyatt there to guide them?
It's already there. Eric Rowan is already directionless.
Yep.
After, I think, didn't he lose to Randy Orton last week?
Yeah.
All right. And then Luke Harper has the fan support, but they don't know. The creative obviously doesn't know what the fuck to do with them right now, so they're just going to put those two Wyatt family guys back together in a feud, which is something they did before in the first place, before they put the Wyatt family back together.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. They were feuding, and then they were a tag team again.
And it's like, what?
Yeah.
And because they started using the freaking 3D. And before the Dudleys came back.
It was
called
The End, and they had a Twitter feud about it, and then the Dudleys came back, and it was never heard from again. Aside from the new, Fallout gas mask, sheep mask that he has right now, there's nothing Eric Rowan has going for him right now aside from his theme music, which I actually think is really cool. Luke Harper is just there. You had something special going with him and Wyatt. If you kept the WWE Championship on him, the whole thing between Orton and Jinder, could have gotten you, to the point you needed to be. What you're doing with this, throwaway feud. It would have worked. No one would have expected to put the title on Luke Harper, but considering how Luke Harper is a multi-time Intercontinental Champion, he did have the credibility for it to pull it off.
He only had it once, Casey.
I'm pretty sure. Didn't they trade the IC title with him and Ziggler a couple times?
Ziggler lost it to him. Because I was there. He won it back.
At the ladder match.
Ladder match at tables, ladders, and chairs and fucking stairs. I don't know why they added that. And then Ziggler was screwed out of the championship because he lost it to, forgot who he lost it to, but that's when the Authority decided to return and do that whole crazy reign. And
still, he had a title before, Wyatt had one, so
yeah,
you had something there. They're gonna get lost in the shuffle. They're gonna get, they're gonna get buried in the mid card. They're gonna be the big guy that the plucky babyface of the month beats and gets their startup feud as they move up the top of the card, and they're just going to be there collecting a paycheck. The only thing that's going to happen is both their beards is going to get longer and Harper's bald spot's going to get bigger, and that's it.
For me, I remember weeks ago we talked about this on the podcast, and I mentioned that I felt like the Wyatt-Orton feud was one of the most complete feuds we had seen in a while, with different championships, guys being elevated, and Luke Harper was one of those guys. And it's funny how you take out one of those moving parts, which is Wyatt, and everyone's just lost. Wyatt, Rowan, they have nowhere to go now. There's no one to feud with. There's no common denominator to kind of bind them together, really, other than they used to be Wyatt family members. You don't have Bray Wyatt to kind of push that over to intertwine the feuds or anything like that. So now you just have these two guys who are kind of being involved in a storyline and being elevated. Then once one guy leaves, they're all just kind of sitting there. There's nowhere to go with them, so they're like, let's just put them together with the throwaway match. And I maybe try to see a semblance of some sort of feud going, but it's going to lack that interest without Bray Wyatt on the brand to kind of push it over promo-wise and just to see kind of them intermingle, because you don't get that anymore. We'll move on to Dolph Ziggler calls out Nakamura in anticipation for their match at Backlash. Ziggler attacks Shinsuke, but Nakamura gets the upper hand on Ziggler, as this was the first time we've really seen Nakamura get physical on the main roster. Is it a good idea for WWE to save his first actual match so long after his original debut on the main roster?
Yes, but I'm not a fan of the moniker they've placed on the artist known as Shinsuke Nakamura. I almost said the artist known as Prince.
He's going to be a symbol.
Don't give him any freaking ideas. I can see a big shuriken with an N on it for that. Anyway, yeah. I think for a guy as special as Shinsuke, I think his first match should be on a pay-per-view. However, if they were going to do that, they shouldn't have done this right away. And I mean, what I'm saying is, they're having him and Ziggler do the same segment 3 weeks in a row.
Yeah.
And if they were going to do it, it most should have been 2 weeks in a row, and it should have started once maybe last week, and then announced it this week that they're going to have a match at the pay-per-view, and then have one more in-ring segment where they actually got physical on the go-home show.
Yeah.
Now, I know these guys are going to have a hell of a match and tear the house down. It's Shinsuke Nakamura, and so I obviously see him winning this match. But they're just dragging it out a little bit. And like after the first 2 times, it was fine. And I found out how far away the pay-per-view was going to be. So it's like, you guys have done the same segment for almost a month with the same 2 guys. And I think the first 2, I believe, were when basically Shinsuke came out and I guess challenged Ziggler or whatever was going on in the ring. Basically, Ziggler ran away twice.
Yeah.
He even ran away this time when they got physical. Come on. You could have just waited.
Yeah, I will say this. I thought Ziggler's promo was brilliant, especially when the NXT chants started going up, and they're just like, we'll just edit this out.
Yeah.
Don't worry about it. I thought it was good. I do have the concern that, it is a little drawn out. It would not shock me if Shinsuke did have a match next week against someone, maybe Kurt Harkins or someone, just to get everyone's feet wet. You know, a quick, simple job match.
They've already established that his debut, his in-ring debut, they keep beating that into our skulls, his in-ring debut is going to be at Backlash.
Well, I'm sure they'll think of something. End of the day, it's... I have mixed feelings about it, simply because if you've seen a Shinsuke match, you don't mind waiting for it, and with him going up against Ziggler, it's going to be a fantastic match.
Yeah.
I do think Shinsuke's going to win. It wouldn't shock me if it was by DQ, though. That way you keep Ziggler losing, but you still keep him on that cusp. End of the day, it is a little frustrating because he debuted, 2-3 weeks ago? And we're just seeing him, do his little dance to the ring, his little poses in the ring, and that's it.
Yeah.
Just thank goodness he's on SmackDown.
Yeah. And they've already booked him way better than he ever would on Raw. He would have already been buried at this point. It's just... I'm just being patient with this one because I know the match is going to be good. I know if there's nothing that comes out of this match, if this is just a one-off feud to get Shinsuke accustomed to the main roster and get him ready to move forward, whether it's a U.S. title feud or eventually going after the WWE Championship, which I think it's safe to assume is going to happen within the next 12 months. They'll give him a shot with the title by that point. But I'm just willing to be patient on this one simply because, I know Ziggler and Shinsuke are going to tear the house down. It's going to be the match of the night, no matter what spot on the card it's going to be. And no matter what happens, both of them are going to come out smelling like a rose because of it, because they both know how to work. And let's be honest, I talked about it a couple weeks ago. We all know how Ziggler oversells. Imagine him overselling a stiff boot to the head that Shinsuke can give. It's going to be glorious.
I'm a big fan of them waiting for a pay-per-view for his debut, just to make it like he's something special, to kind of give that special feel. My issue is, like Casey said, you look at a Nakamura match, it's worth waiting for. People that watch NXT, they know that. People who've watched New Japan, they know that. General audiences have zero idea who Nakamura is, and he's not a promo guy. I went into panic mode about, it was like 2 or 3 weeks ago, when it was Dolph Ziggler, Nakamura in the ring, and some of the fans started wutting Nakamura. And
he's also talking with his mouth guard in.
Yeah, and I thought maybe that could be something that was going to happen, where, because, he's not strong in the English language. He can get a point across, but, you're not going to get a masterpiece promo for him because of that language barrier. And it was one of those things where I was like, oh, God, this could easily go really south for him. So I went into a little bit panic mode because I didn't want to, it only takes one segment like that for them to do the what. Then next week he's talking again, what. You kind of have to strike with iron.
And a lot of you fans got to have a lot more class than that. Like, come on, this it's not 2000. When did Austin start doing that?
2001. It was
like, it's not
Asian angle.
Yeah, just cut that shit out.
And
especially when you get to the point where you're wetting guys like the Undertaker, and it's actually a serious storyline.
Yeah.
Even Goldberg, when he was doing his farewell speech when Raw went off the air one week, he had to check the fans. He said, "I'm speaking straight from my heart, and I appreciate if you guys will listen."
Yeah, it's one of those things.
Like, come on,
where people think they're being funny, and it just takes you out. And it can take someone who's engulfed in a promo. It can easily take them out like that, where you can kind of shake someone.
Yeah. Not everyone can be Shawn Michaels. I mean, I remember, people chanting, you screwed Brett, and he would always come back, and your point would be what? Go back to your own country, and he would spin that into a positive, and everyone got back behind him. That he didn't let that bother him. Not everyone has that ability.
Yeah.
Not everyone, once they get off track, they have a hard time getting back on. And to your point, yeah. Someone who is not adverse in the English language, someone who does speak in a heavy accent, because I remember when he said, get a referee, I was like, what did he say?
Yeah.
Did he say referee? I couldn't quite make that out. It's an issue for him, and it's something that, we've seen him overcome. I don't think there was a promo in NXT I couldn't understand.
Yeah, because I think they would also slow him down a little bit. He's not trying to, overly articulate and project his voice over the fans, because a lot of the interviews we saw in NXT with him were sit-down interviews.
Yes.
And when he has the opportunity to sit and gather his thoughts and speak clearly, or at least well enough for everybody at home to understand, he's good.
Yep.
'Cause I remember he was having a promo. I forgot who he was talking about. It might have been Samoa Joe. It was before the Bobby Roode feud, and he was just. Let me back up. I might be able to remember who this was. Who did he feud with when he won the NXT Championship?
I'm pretty sure it was Joe.
The first time, yeah. Then it was Samoa Joe. So he's capable of speaking. Not like, oh my gosh, this guy is. What are we gonna do? He's like the first Sin Cara. He can't speak. He can't speak English. No, get a guy opportunity.
And this was one of my reservations I had of Shinsuke not being a mainstay talent in NXT, because the audience in NXT way different than a general audience that goes to a WWE event. People that are going to NXT are well aware of the international talent that they have there. there's a level of respect. Whether if you can't understand what Nakamura is saying, you're not gonna what him. You're gonna figure it out. You know who this guy is. You know his credentials. You don't dare do that. That was one of my big things when he was moving up was how is he gonna translate? And I really hope they don't make him into some sort. Fans can make anything into a joke.
Yeah.
So that was one of the big things for me. And one of the things where I was more comfortable with him with the potential to feud with The Miz because everyone hates The Miz. Ziggler's kind of one of those guys where you can hate him as a heel, but it's out of respect. Everyone loves Dolph Ziggler. You can get behind him. So it can be one of those things where if you know Ziggler, you're smart, you know you're going to love Ziggler. You don't really know Nakamura. You're going to kind of try to be the cool guy that likes the heel rather than go with this Japanese guy that you can't really understand. So you're going to want him, of course. So I'm excited for Nakamura. I think once he's in the ring, people are going to really get a feel for him, so I can't really wait to Backlash. We'll move on to the last thing. Jinder Mahal defeats Randy Orton in a 6-man tag in WWE's attempt to make the jobber turn main event heel into a credible contender. Has WWE booked Mahal into someone who could possibly capture the WWE Championship?
Absolutely not. And that's not a dig against Mahal, but it goes back to what I was saying about a potential feud between Bray Wyatt and Luke Harper for the WWE Championship. The title's not going to change hands. It's a throwaway feud, but it gets you to where it needs to be. This is clearly that. And again, I'm not trying to bury Mahal or anything like that. I think he's a great talent. I think he should have been pushed way harder sooner, instead of being stuck with 3MB, which only got over because internet fans, thought it was funny. It's just a case of, what you're getting out of this already. It's like a movie poster with the spoiler for the ending right on it.
Yeah.
You know what you're going to expect to see before you even buy your tickets, so it's almost no point in even doing it. It's just to build Mahal up as a heel, give him some credibility, maybe form a faction with his new buddies that he has toting around.
The Bollywood Boys. Actually, they changed their names. It's the Singh Brothers.
Yep.
They're not the Bollywood Boys. They're not Harv and Gurv Sira anymore, which is incredibly fucking stupid.
Yep.
Because they were in NXT the whole time and the Cruiserweight Classic under their real names, Harv and Gurv Sira. They even mentioned them as being the Sira brothers, their first appearance on SmackDown. Now they're the Singh Brothers.
Hashtag WWE ruins everything.
Hashtag shit for wankers. Hashtag Sira brothers shit for wankers.
Yeah, form a faction, you can have, a huge heel faction, have the new Wyatt family with a Middle Eastern flavor. Why not? It can work.
I would like to see this faction, not to cut you off, Casey, I'm sorry. But if they're going to do this faction, and I like how they're calling him the Maharaja. I think that means like Prince or something like that.
I always mean to look that up and I forget.
I'm just thinking like I was watching and you guys know I'm a big car head and I love the Fast and Furious movies. So I was before I watched went to go see Furious 8. I watched the first 7 again.
Yeah.
And when I saw the 7th one again, I think it was a part in this movie where they were going into this building for a party or something, and there was a car in there, but the car was that they were trying to steal was owned by some very rich prince in Dubai who had all this stuff, and he was very arrogant and this, that, and third. Make that Jinder Mahal.
Yeah.
Make him like the I know he's Punjabi or he's Indian and he's doing the whole Punjabi prince thing. That's fine, but make him like the rich playboy, the rich Middle Eastern playboy. He has 2 douchebag friends, and they have cars and all this crap. You can do with him what you failed to do properly with Alberto Del Rio, because nobody fucking likes Del Rio. Period.
Yeah.
Like I never saw anything. He was a decent wrestler. He was just a fucking guy that got the belt. He was never anything special, in my opinion. But you can do something special with Jinder Mahal. I'm actually pulling for Jinder Mahal. I hope he wins the championship. If not at the pay-per-view, then sometime eventually. But you can do something really, really good with this guy. Give him an opportunity. He looks like $1 million.
Exactly.
Give the guy a shot.
Yeah, but the problem is, just his past booking. He's just come back to the WWE after a couple years away. He was with 3MB. He was originally a cruiserweight, if you guys don't remember. He was originally in the cruiserweight division on Raw. I don't even remember how he got the SmackDown.
Are you serious?
Yeah, he was wrestling in the cruiserweight division on Raw when they brought back the division.
What?
Yeah.
What, this year?
Yeah.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was. I'm pretty sure one of the first...
You sure that wasn't Arya Daivari?
No, it was Jinder Mahal.
There's no way he'd be a believable
no.
cruiserweight in
No.
this run.
There's no way.
I'm telling you, it was TJ Perkins or TJP, which is a stupid fucking name, against Jinder Mahal, and this was on Raw.
I don't remember this. I don't think this happened, Casey. You sure this isn't somebody else?
I'm telling you. I'll try to look it up.
All right. Well, while he's doing that, any thoughts, Luke, on Jinder Mahal?
Yeah, honestly, I was a fan of Jinder Mahal in his first run before he got into the whole 3MB gimmick. When he did a lot of stuff with the NXT. I think he was in the finals for the NXT Championship. And I thought, that was a real testament of what he could do. I was kind of mad when they released him in the direction they took him with 3MB, but I was excited when he was one of the guys that showed up back on Raw after the split. And like you said, he looks like $1 million. He looks perfect, believable main eventer. I don't know necessarily. I'm a fan of the push. I don't necessarily know if straight hot-shotting main event was the right thing to do. I think this was kind of another thing, one of the remnants of Bray Wyatt being traded, because we could have got some more of the Wyatt, Randy Orton feud. And I think with what they're doing with Jinder, it's almost academic to make him go after the U.S. Championship. Just to have him go for that one at first as a warm-up, just with the dynamic that he is doing, would make sense to me.
Because I just hope they get away from the whole anti-American thing. You don't have to do that. Just make him one of those rich not Punjabi playboys. That's what's his name? The worst wrestler on the planet, Great Khali. Yeah, just make him like one of those rich jerks, one of those pompous jerks from overseas.
Yeah. It's like
he can do that so well. He already pulled off in a limo when he stole the WWE title.
Yeah. It's like he doesn't have to be anti-American. It could be like, I am your new America, I'm not against America. I am a part of it now.
And my thing is, if this whole thing actually flops and fails, that WWE has no one to blame but themselves, because this would have never happened had you not moved Wyatt to Raw.
Yeah. And I think Jinder Mahal doesn't necessarily, I'm excited to see where he goes. I'm excited for him to get an opportunity. I just hope it's not so hot-shotted that he'll be damaged goods when he doesn't win the championship.
Yeah, and that's the problem that I'm having too, is simply because just with the way he's been booked in the past, it just seems so random. I remember seeing posts on wrestling boards and Facebook and things like that of when he won the number one contendership, and it had the graphic at the bottom of the screen, new number one contender Jinder Mahal, and someone edited in, "No, seriously, it's Jinder Mahal." So obviously, people aren't taking it too seriously, and I don't know if it's just our cynical mentality setting us up for a fall in case there is a big swerve and he does win the championship at the pay-per-view, or if WWE's putting too much faith in one guy who hasn't had that many opportunities. But I just don't see it. Give it some time. Maybe around end of the year Survivor Series time you could put the belt on him, but I just don't see it right now. He hasn't held a single title, and that's one of the things that I always say is I can't believe you as a credible champion unless you win another championship first.
Yeah.
You don't automatically start off with the World Heavyweight Championship. You start out with, a tag team championship or the U.S. Championship or one of the lower tier belts to work your way up.
Yeah.
I would have never considered, Booker T a world champion if he hadn't won the television championship first. Because, it's like the old saying goes, you start from the bottom and now you're here. You had to move your way up. And I just don't see Jinder Mahal being shotgunned into the main event of SmackDown, coming out with the title so soon.
Yeah.
If you build him up and you build this over a couple months, maybe come July, I would buy into it, but not now. I can't buy it now. And maybe if this is a long-term feud to get through to the beginning of summer, maybe it could happen. But right now, I don't think Jinder Mahal has a snowball's chance to get the job done. I just don't see it. And plus, I think they have Randy Orton booked solid as champion, at least until SummerSlam.
Yeah, I just hope he's not this byproduct of we bring over the guys from the Superstar Shakeup, and since we are the land of opportunity, let's just pick someone out of a hat and throw him into the main event real quick to show that this guy was a jobber on Raw, not getting any opportunities, and now he's a main event guy on SmackDown. Not going to win the championship and may fall back down by the wayside after he loses. I hope that's not going to be the case. I hope he kind of sticks around in the main event level. I think we're all in agreement that he's not going to walk out Backlash as champion, at least at this point.
By the way, that cruiserweight thing never happened.
So you say. I'm still telling you.
You either were thinking about Arya Daivari.
It was not Daivari.
Or Mustafa Ali.
No, it wasn't him either. I'm telling you, I was the reason how I knew Jinder Mahal was back in the WWE. Because I didn't realize he was back until then. I could be wrong, though. I'm just telling you that's how I remember seeing him. I might have been against a cruiserweight guy and just didn't have the purple ropes. That's all I know. The only thing that I can see happening, with Jinder Mahal potentially winning the championship is Rusev said on like a Facebook Live post.
Oh, yeah.
That he demanded a title opportunity, and who better to spark that feud than with his former tag team partner, who clearly he had issues with before the shakeup. Being the champion and maybe turn Jinder face as a result. Who knows?
I think Rusev would be face in that situation.
I don't think I could buy Rusev as a face.
But they're gonna keep Lana and Rusev separate.
That was a weird promo that they showed on SmackDown too.
Yeah, she's gonna have a dancing gimmick. So.
It's gonna be interesting.
She is a great dancer though. She's been.
So Breezango's breaking up. We got Fandango on his own dancing down the aisleway again.
Oh, don't do that. Don't. When they originally took the dancer, when they originally took Summer Rae, and then later Layla, when they originally took them from Fandango, you knew Fandango's career was basically over.
Yep.
Half your gimmick's gone.
Dead in the water. Now you got some guy with furry boots and a selfie stick.
Thank goodness for Tyler Breeze right now, because I've never been a fan of the Fandango character, but I can tell that the guy Fandango, Johnny Curtis. Yeah, Johnny Curtis. I could tell he works hard at trying to do his best with what he's given, and the same thing with Tyler Breeze. That dude was on the chopping block. I was watching that E60 special I had saved on my DVR from a couple of years ago.
Oh, yeah.
Tyler Breeze was on his way out of the company. He built that character from the ground up, but when he got to the main roster, he was doing well at first, and then a report, I'll never forget it, the report came out that Vince McMahon doesn't buy him as a top star.
Yeah.
And as soon as that report came out the next week, he lost the match to Ziggler, and he just started losing.
And I think we're really missing the boat. Well, WWE's missing the boat on not having him in the cruiserweight division. I think he can be a strong cruiserweight heel.
Dude, fucking Kalisto's on Raw and still has yet to participate in a single cruiserweight match.
Issue.
Son of a bitch, you're right. Oh my god. How? Is WWE written by monkeys? The 1,000 monkeys at 1,000 typewriters. At some point, they'll write Shakespeare. Is that what we're experiencing right now?
But the thing is, if they're going back to Kalisto, if they're legit trying to make him the quote unquote next Rey Mysterio to fill the void that Guerrero and Mysterio left, when Mysterio left the company and Eddie Guerrero died, that Hispanic demographic. If they're really, really trying to make him fill that void, the booking's not helping.
It's horrible. He's
It's
like
not
a
his own.
joke.
It's not his own fault. And they gave him new music and a new mask, and I guess they're trying to change up his look or whatever, but it's not working.
With his moveset, it could have gotten over alone.
Yeah, all they had to do was leave him alone.
Yep, and they just like booked him horribly, and
Then Lucy Dragon should never split up.
Yep.
That's the whole thing with this. They should still be together and together on SmackDown if they weren't going to put either one of them in the Cruiserweight division. Matter of fact, they were both in Cruiserweight division at different well, Sin Cara was the only one who was in the Cruiserweight division briefly.
Yeah.
And then the Jericho thing happened. I don't know what to say.
a lot of things going
Why
on.
do we watch this crap again?
And then podcasts about
Because
it.
it's fun. It's fun. We're having fun.
Having fun, damn it. Smile.
All right, so we got a little over a week to Backlash. So next week we'll probably preview the card and everything.
Yeah.
We'll also be doing some videos for next week, so definitely be on the lookout for those. Do you want to do your shilling before we get into the close?
Oh, you mean my YouTube and my Facebook plugs? Of course.
Wait, you have a YouTube?
Yeah.
What?
Oh my goodness. But yeah, all jokes aside, please check me out on the Dee Harris brand on Facebook and YouTube, where you can check out my show On Screen with Dee Harris. 6 episodes in right now, as well as the videos for Team Prodigy 216, which is my automotive team, the premier automotive team of the 216. Also, you can find the Weekend Wrestling Podcast, of course, on YouTube. So you hear all those plugs there. Check them out, man.
And definitely, as always, popcultureaddicts.com. And if you're on iTunes listening to this, definitely check out the By Admission Only podcast as well. But until then, I'm Luke Janesco.
Casey George.
Andy Harris.
And that was your week in wrestling.
Great Balls of Fire is a stupid fucking name.